So let me just pose a question. Imagine you meet someone who's achieved the absolute peak of amateur sports. We're talking a gold medal.
Right. Top of their field.
Exactly. And then years later, you find out that same person is a complete cornerstone, a legend in this super specific niche of the adult entertainment world.
It sounds unbelievable.
What does that kind of jump even look like? It's not just a career change.
No, it's like mastering two completely separate universes, both demanding this immense physical discipline and public visibility.
The contrast is just jarring. So for this deep dive, we are going to get into the sources on the incredible journey of Minka, born in Seoul, South Korea, back in 1970.
And her story, it really tracks this path from a competitive tennis court to becoming really a defining figure in big bus modeling and film for decades.
And the thing that just hits you immediately, the real aha moment, is how serious that first career was. She wasn't just, playing tennis for fun.
Oh, not at all. This is the crucial starting point. She was an elite athlete. The sources confirm she came to the U.S. in 1993 for one reason.
To compete.
To compete in the Asian Olympics in Chicago. And there, she and her partner won the gold medal in women's doubles. This is a world-class athlete we're talking about.
Okay, so that's the setup. Gold medalist. How do we get from there to adult model? It's a massive shift.
It is. So she's in the U.S., and the plan, it made perfect sense. She wanted to teach tennis professionally.
A logical next step. She had the skill, she had the medal.
Totally. But she hit a wall, a bureaucratic one. The sources are very clear on this. She couldn't pass the licensing exam to become an instructor here.
And why not?
The language barrier, plain and simple. Her English skills at the time just weren't strong enough to get her through the exam, so her whole planned career path was just blocked.
That must have been devastating. I mean, to go from the absolute peak to being professionally stranded in a foreign country.
The pressure must have been immense, and the sources suggest it wasn't a slow drift into a new career. It was urgent. She needed to make a living, and fast.
So what was the catalyst?
It was actually her former tennis partner. She saw her, her attractive shape and suggested modeling, just as a way to make money quickly.
And that suggestion immediately leads her to the adult industry.
Instantly. She put together a portfolio, sent it to a British photographer, a guy named John Graham, and he seems to be the one who really set everything in motion.
The timeline here is fascinating. It happens so fast.
Incredibly fast. She flies to England to meet Graham. This is around 1994. He immediately sees her niche appeal and refers her to a big adult talent agency, Universal Entertainment.
And he shot her first photos, right?
He did. Her very first pictorial for the American magazine Score. So by 1994, she's back in the U.S., she's posing for Score, touring as an exotic dancer.
And then the films start.
By 1995, yeah. Just 2 years after winning that gold medal, she's starring in her first adult film, Duke of Knockers 2, also directed by Graham, a complete career launch into a very, very specific niche.
Which brings us to her trademark, right?
Yeah.
The image she cultivated. It wasn't just general adult work.
No, it was laser-focused on the big bust market. She's billed as the largest-breasted Asian woman in the world. Her own website calls her the bountiful, beautiful Asian.
And the sources keep pointing to this contrast, the athletic body versus the sheer size of her chest.
Absolutely. The contrast is the whole brand. The stats are 5'8", about 133 pounds, so a very lean, athletic build from her tennis days.
And then you get to the measurements.
And that's where it becomes strategic. They're listed as 55 or 56 inches around the bust, a 23-inch waist, and 35-inch hips.
That 23-inch waist is tiny for her height.
And that's the visual trick. It creates this extreme, almost impossible-looking contrast. It's what defined her look.
So let's get into the technical side of the enhancement, because this was a process, wasn't it? Not a one-and-done surgery.
No, it happened over the mid-90s. She started at an F cup and had several augmentations to get to her reported size, which is something like a 54 kkk or M cup.
But the type of implant is key here, isn't it?
It's absolutely critical to her entire career longevity. She got polypropylene string breast implants.
Ah, the same kind as other big names in that niche, like Chelsea Charms and Maxie Mounds.
Exactly. And this isn't just a medical detail. It's a core part of her business model. Because of how they work, by drawing fluid in her breasts, they gradually and continuously keep growing.
Wait, they keep growing?
Perpetually. She claims they weigh about 13.5 pounds each. This meant she could always maintain her title. She was constantly breaking her own record.
So it was a forward-thinking business strategy. It guarantees new content, new press, new attention.
It is a calculated way to stay relevant in a very visual industry. That kind of commitment is, well, it's incredible.
And that commitment paid off with industry recognition. I mean, she worked for over 25 years. That's an eternity in that business.
And she has the awards to back it up. In 1998, she won an AVN award, which is like the Oscars of that world for Best Big Bust Video.
And then the Hall of Fame.
In 2007, yeah. Inducted into the Erotica Hall of Fame. Plus, Score Model of the Year in 2005, Exotic Dancer Magazine's Best Big Bust Entertainer in 2000. She was a top draw across film, print, and live performance.
Okay, and this is where the story gets really interesting for anyone listening. Her crossover into the mainstream. Her look was so unique, it broke out.
It absolutely did. She became this kind of pop culture curiosity. First up, in 1997, she's on The Jerry Springer Show.
Of course she was. The episode was called Big Busted Strippers.
Naturally, but then a couple of years later, in 99, she's on Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
On Conan, what was she doing?
Participating in some toe-sucking sketch. You just have to pause and think about that. A gold medalist for South Korea is doing performance art on late-night TV. It's surreal. It shows she'd become a personality. You also see her on shows like Spike TV's Mansers in 2007 when they're debating who has the biggest chest in the world. Her name was just part of the conversation.
And the wrestling connection.
Right. In 1999, she did a spoof on WCW, Ted Turner's wrestling league, under the name Satin.
And then radio personalities like Adam Carolla on Loveline were calling her the #1 Asian big boob queen. She was just woven into the pop culture fabric.
But the real pinnacle of the story, the moment that ties everything back together, happens way later.
The full circle moment.
This is the truly mind-blowing detail. In 2009, she and her team won the USTA National Championship in female amateur 4.5 tennis doubles in Las Vegas.
Let's just be clear for everyone listening. The 4.5 level in USTA tennis is serious. It's highly competitive.
This is not just a weekend hobby.
She won an Olympic gold, completely transformed her body for a 15-year career in adult entertainment, and then just came back and won a national tennis title.
It's unprecedented. The sources don't say how she trained, but the implication is staggering. She maintained that elite athletic skill while managing the physical reality of her other job. That discipline is the thread connecting both worlds.
Which brings us to the sustainability of it all. Around that same time, 2009, she had an interview where she mentioned maybe getting a breast reduction.
Yeah, on a British Channel 4 show. She hinted that, maybe in 2011 or 2012 she'd consider it, which raises the question, what's her brand without that defining feature?
But she didn't go through with it?
Nope. In May 2011, she publicly reversed course, said she had no plans to retire or get a reduction. As long as she had fans, she would keep working.
And she's stuck to that. The longevity is incredible.
As of early 2025, she's 54 and still active. That's over 30 years. She lives in Las Vegas. She's on OnlyFans, social media.
And a little piece of trivia from the sources, she's best friends and neighbors with another longtime big bust performer, Kayla Cleavage.
Right, they've built a community there. And interestingly, she's mentioned other interests like anime and cooking. There's even talk she might want to open a Korean BBQ restaurant someday.
A whole new act.
Maybe a return to her roots, in a way.
So when you put it all together, what does this mean for you listening? Minka's career is just this profound case study in niche, celebrity transformation, and just sheer persistence.
It really is. She went from an elite Korean athlete to a specialized American performer who built and maintained a 3-decade career on a unique, ever-changing physical image.
And the existence of her dual successes, the gold medal, the Hall of Fame induction, that other national tennis title, it really forces you to rethink how we define professional achievement.
The persistence is the core trait, isn't it? So here's something to think about. What does it say about dedication to excel in either the brutal physical discipline of elite tennis or the demanding, public-facing physical reality of a 30-year career in her specific niche? She did both. The commitment required for either one is immense. That's a fascinating comparison to chew on.